Hello everyone, my name is Montserrat Becerril Sanchez, and today I'm going to talk about an experiment that we made in our 21st century science and technology. I made this experiment with some of my classmates, and we decided to title it Darkening in Cotton by Cigarettes. So join me in these slides to be able to know what is it all about. So let's begin with our justification and theoretical framework by understanding the risks of using tobacco. Here we have some data that will help us to understand the importance of this topic. The first one is that one person every 10 seconds die from diseases related to tobacco use. That means that every year 4 million people die. Smoking tobacco particularly affects your lungs. It destructs the surface of the alveoli, causing emphysema, which produces a decrease in the air passage. And last one, a list of 599 cigarette additives created by 5 major American cigarette companies was approved by the Department of Health and Human Services in 1994. Taking into account all the previous information, we already knew that the cigarette was harmful, but we decided to go deeper into wondering if the brand has something to do with this and how in our experiment this could affect, because we wanted to see the coloring that a cotton takes due to the cigarette. So we ended up asking ourselves the following question, our research question. Which type of cigarettes will affect the cotton the most? And we created the following hypothesis. If someone smokes different types of cigarettes, then the coloration in the cotton will be different, meaning by someone the machine that we created. So let's move on to methodology. First, we identify our variables. Our independent variable was the types of cigarettes used, and our dependent variable was the color in the cotton after it was affected by the smoke from the cigarettes. Now, materials and methods. We used some balloons with cotton inside in order to see the darkening, and a hose where we put the cigarette, and in this way we can recreate the inhaling process. Experimental design. As we can see for the experimental design, we built a table with all the brands of the cigarettes and the number of the cigarettes that we are going to measure. We measured every 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 cigarettes in order to see the coloration of the cotton, and we measured the coloration of the cotton with the yellow scale that we can see in the image. Once we had all the data, we put it in Excel to make an ANOVA. In this ANOVA test, we can observe all the data, its averages and variance. This ANOVA gave us as a result an F with a value of 0.22420382 and a critical F with a value of 2.620654115. So as we can see, the critical F is greater than the F, being true the hypothesis 0, where all are equal or the same. Finally, our conclusions. Our experiment entitled Darkening in Cotton by Cigarettes had as its main objective to discover the damage that cigarettes make based on the coloration that they will generate in cotton. But we decide to take our investigation further by asking ourselves the following question. Which type of cigarette will affect the cotton the most? And this is how we decide to compare between 5 brands of cigarettes in order to prove the following hypothesis. If we use different types of cigarettes, simulating that someone is smoking them, then the coloration in the cotton will be different, and in this way, we set out to find out how true it was that the brand had something to do with the damage it causes and the coloration it generates. And in this way, we start the experiment, simulating with a machine that someone has smoking these cigarettes. We take the coloration data for each brand every 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 cigarettes, as I mentioned, and we use the yellow color scale and we put a number to each color. We generate our ANOVA. And at the time we start generating our ANOVA, we did not imagine the results we would obtain, despite the fact that in our data table it appeared that the coloration had indeed changed for every brand. The ANOVA made us see that the average was the same, so the result was that all were exactly the same, in the sense that we conclude that all the cigarettes, regardless of the brand, do the same damage when you smoke them. I think we got these results because we didn't look carefully at the substances that each brand had, or maybe the quantity that it had, and which was like the substance, or maybe a pattern of substances that really affects the color of the cotton or makes more damage. Favorable results? For me, yes, we got them. I consider it favorable because these results make us see the investigation from another point of view that we really do not expect, and I think that it led us to make improvements for future experiments. For example, I would recommend to pay more attention to substances and maybe use alternative things to cigarettes like electronic cigarettes, vapes, and also maybe try with more brands. Thanks for your attention. That's it. Hope you like it, Miss Gabi.